as a writer, I'm always talking about the importance of reading books in different genres and expanding your vocabulary and your use of language, and just growing as an author requires reading. So I'm going to share with you the 10 books that I've picked out to read this year. But stick around to the end, because at the end, my last book is a book that I've recently discovered that I'm super excited to read. For those of you that are writers and you want to grow in your craft, you need to stick around for that book. Book number 1 is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this is not the first time I've read this book. This will actually be my 4th read. And this is just a really good book to review and refresh the habits and the systems that I have in place to reach my goals. I've actually done a video book review of this book, and I will put that link in the description if you want to check that out. Book number 2 is The Lady's Mind by Francine Rivers. And one of the reasons why I chose this book is because one of my all-time favorite books is also written by Francine Rivers. It's called Redeeming Love, and I have a video review of that book if you want to check that out, and I will put that in the description. But this book it's her newest book. I love what it says in the description for this book. It says, a lighthearted Christian romance novel set in 1875, a sweeping romantic tale of a displaced New England suffragette, a former Union soldier disinherited by his Southern family, and the California frontier town they join forces to save. It sounds like a book that would be an easy read, an enjoyable read, and we need to add that to our reading list, some books that are just lighthearted and fun to read. Number 3 is actually a series of books written by Karen Hancock, who also happens to be the author of one of my other all-time favorite books called Arena, which I have a video book review of that book that I will put in the video description, so you can check that out. But here is book 1. It's called The Legends of the Guardian King. This is book 1, The Light of Iden. And these books are actually an allegory about the spiritual battle that we're all fighting. And I'm super excited to read these. I think it's going to be a great time to spend some time reading. Book number 4 is a book that was given to me, and it is called Divine Disruptions, and it is by Tony Evans and his family. And his family, within a 2-year time frame, lost 8 loved ones. That's a lot of loved ones to lose in a short time frame. And they write their story in here. One of the phrases it says on the cover is, holding on to faith when life breaks your heart. A lot of us can relate to that. I'm really looking forward to reading this book. If you are struggling with grief or trying to make sense of some of the terrible things that happen in life, you could read this book with me, and then you can tell me what you think as well. And book number 5 is another familiar author. It is About Grace by Anthony Doerr, and I've actually done a video book review of one of his other books, All the Light We Cannot See, which I will put a link to in the description. But this book, it looks like a really good book. I really liked what I read about it, so I'm really excited to read this one. It's one of the things I read about it said, About Grace is a heartbreaking, radiant, and astonishingly accomplished novel about the tiny but life-saving miracles happening around us at each moment and about our longing for grace. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe and click that bell notification so you don't miss any future videos. Book number 6 is Killing the Witches by Bill O'Reilly. And this is part of the Killing series. He's got quite a few. I've read quite a few of them because I really enjoy history. They're well written. They're enjoyable. This particular one, it chronicles the Salem witch trials, and it follows through into today's day of counterculture. Book number 7 is The Body Keeps the Score by, and I'm going to try to say his name, Bessel A. van der Kolk. Okay, this book is more of a self-help type of book. It talks about the effects of trauma on a person, and it's written by, I think he's a psychologist, but I've had lots of people talk about this book, And so I'm going to check that out. Now, I hope you did catch that I've got a lot of different genres, because when you're putting together your reading list, you want to make sure that you have a lot of different genres that you're reading to expand your horizons. I would love to hear from you in the comments. What books are on your TBR list? What books are you going to read to grow in the craft of writing? And what books are you going to read just to enjoy reading? My next book is a classic, because I think every reading list should have at least one classic book on it. And this book is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. Now, I've watched the BBC miniseries of North and South, and it's super, super good. And I've been wanting to read the book for a while now. And so it is actually an 1855 classic Victorian novel, and it's a great, I mean, if the book is anything like the miniseries, I think I'm going to love it, because I just love the language that you find in the Victorian era novels, because it's just a good way to expand your vocabulary and the way they put words together. It's just beautiful. So that's my classic book that's on my list. The next book is The Traveler's Summit by Andy Andrews. And of course, he's another one of my favorite authors, because this is the sequel to The Traveler's Gift. And so this actually takes a history and a story and weaves it together really well. His books are so good, so worth reading. So I'm really excited to read this one too. It's time for my last pick, which I told you to stay tuned for this one because it's a good one. And so it is Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kloon. And this is a New York Times bestseller. Supposed to be a super good book. I recently discovered it and I'm so eager to read it. This is what the listing says about it. 10 things nobody ever told you about being creative, including nothing is original, so embrace influence. School yourself through the work of others. Remix and reimagine to discover your own path. And forget the old cliche about writing what you know. Instead, write the book you want to read. Make the movie you want to watch. Grow your craft by reading Steal Like an Artist this year, and make sure that your reading list is filled with lots of different genres to help you grow as an author. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you in the next video.